We'd like to introduce you to Pee-wee and his pals.
I'm going tonight, right?
When they're not in class, they're into everything.
I have been a huge fan of the Porky's trilogy ever since I was about 8 years old. Too young to be watching movies, but parents had them on tape, so I did watch. And over the years, I've collected some stuff from the movies, behind-the-scenes footage, interviews, deleted scenes, TV promos. There's a whole bunch of really good stuff, including some interviews from people that were involved with the movies that were not interviewed at the time. They've been interviewed since. So it's going to be just a fun mixed bag of sort of a little bit of everything. Now, this is one volume because there's hours and hours and hours of stuff. So I figured I'd cut it in just one and kind of see how it went. So if you're a fan of Porky's, then hang on.
But what they'd like to get into most is a place called Porky's.
Save your energy, you're going to need it.
Okay.
Porky's. You too will be back for a second look.
Porky's, together with the gripping Death Race 2000, both rated R, now showing at selected Skyline drive-ins.
I just got a call from my agent. Was it Bob Clark? Yeah, he directed it. They shot it in Florida, but they did a lot of the voice looping here. In fact, a pal of mine, Bill Black, did some of the tracks. Just background voices at school and stuff. So they needed a newscaster. And I went down to the old Pathé Studios down near the police headquarters and did the track. I think I did it 3 times. And you get a click track. There's the black mark that goes across, and you do the thing. And that was it. And of course, the interesting thing about that sequence was it was the first time you didn't really see it, but the boy has an erection under the covers, right? And it's the first time you ever saw anything like that. And I think the song was Patty Page. Something by Patty Page. Well, when the movie opened in Toronto, we went to see it, and we sat through the entire credits. And by that point, there was some, I think it was my ex and somebody else, a friend of mine. I think Bill Black, who did some of the voices. We sit through the entire credits. The very last credit comes up, says, announcer, Don Dana. So, yay! Because there's nobody there. It was kind of a riot. I haven't seen that movie, oh God, in years. Ah, that's right. Porky's.
Just in case you missed it, he was the voice coming out of Pee-wee's radio every morning.
And now Gene begins with Porky's, a teenage sex comedy.
Porky's is one of those films that illustrates the rule, you'll never go broke underestimating the taste of the American public. You see, Porky's is the idiotic high school sex comedy that has been a box office smash in so many of the cities where it has played. How dumb is it? Try this opening scene where a bunch of 25-year-old actors with receding hairlines try to convince us they are high school students in Florida pulling a joke on their wimpy classmates.
This is the hard-boiled one. Jimmy, you're gonna get some action tonight, huh? What are you talking about, Pee-wee? Hey, man, I'm going out.
Big surprise. Later in the film, they play another joke on that same little guy by taking him to a phony brothel in the Everglades and then chasing him out of the place just after he's taken his clothes off. Between the Cannonball Run and American Graffiti. I suppose we could have just tossed off this film as just a dog of the week, but because of its financial success, Porky's, I think, deserves a little more serious attention. What does this movie consist of? Racist jokes, jokes about fat people, men peering through holes in walls at women taking showers, exploding prophylactics, and guys knocking off bullies, including a guy named Porky, who operates a raunchy bar. That may be an all-American lineup, but this film is excruciating to sit through because the jokes are so predictable, so drawn out, and in many cases so leering and offensive. I must say I didn't laugh once at Porky's.
I also don't recommend the movie, but I did laugh more than you did. I think there are probably 3 or 4 good laughs in this movie. I think what it doesn't have, though, is that anarchic comic spark that humor has to have if it's going to get away with bad taste.
Okay.
If you look at movies like Animal House or some of Mel Brooks's films, they deal with material that is just as much in bad taste or vulgar as anything in Porky's, but they redeem it because they're funny. And here it just falls flat and we're embarrassed half the time.
Isn't it because it drags out? I mean, you could see that shot of them delivering the kid to the drive-in.
Yeah,
It just runs on and on. The pacing here is real slow.
The whole egg joke, he should have just turned around and done it instead of walking over, setting it up, talking about it, the double take, the slow burn.
See, because our mind is much faster than the director's.
The thing that makes comedy funny is when the comedian is able to think faster than we are. Many times.
All right.
Both Gene and I vote no on Porky's, the comedy about sex-crazed teenagers in Florida. I thought it had some good moments, but it slipped over the line from comedy into grossness. Gene liked it even less. He thought it was a cross between idiocy and bad taste. We sure can't recommend you see it.
There are 53 of them. Yeah. They were built like tanks, right? Yeah. And so Ted Jarvis, Deputy Ted Jarvis, was going to smash in Porky's headlight and then tell him that that's a fine. I could fine you for that. Well, my shotgun barrel, the butt bounced off the headlight. And I did it 4 or 5 times. And finally, Bob, who was built like a linebacker, says, "Art, give me that thing," you know. And he says to the camera guy, "Tighten it here, just on the headlight." So he banged it. He wouldn't break. The grips had to drill holes into it and compromise its composition so it would crack. So when you see that in the scene, in the film, that's been drilled through about at least a dozen drills before it would break. The glass was like this, the bottom of the old Coke bottle, you know? Wow. It was something.
Whenever a movie like Porky's is aired on television, obviously there are things cut out. There are things in Porky's that are not suitable for television. No dirty words, no dirty scenes. So what they would do is they would add deleted scenes or alternate scenes to make up for that lost time. Now why? These were never put on the DVDs or the Blu-rays. I don't know. But luckily we have VHS rips of the television airings. So we have these scenes to check out now.
Turner and Billy McCarty, you stop right there. Well, looky here. It's high five.
Hi, Marvin. How you feeling?
You're not supposed to spin out, Turner. I'm giving you a demerit. Good grief, Marvin. That's not right.
Marvin, you were doing a fine job, boy. I want you to keep it up now.
Jarvis, I'm giving you 2 demerits. I'm gonna get this parking lot paved. Jarvis, I'm getting this parking lot paved.
You believe this? What, bronze go for jocks?
High school jocks don't even get in this place. You're supposed to be 21.
Well, no one said I was still a high school jock. You know, that must be why you make out sweet, Pee-wee. So sophisticated. Right, jeez.
Let her sweat it.
No, wait! Mead's still running! Come on, let's get him!
Come on, get on close!
All right, let's go. All right, jerk.
Every time we go someplace, you find some way to mess it up. Well, that's okay, Pee-wee. In your case, I take your word for it. Stand up straight. I knew we shouldn't have brought him along.
I didn't do it on purpose, Tim, okay?
Every time we do something, you
will y'all knock it off?
Hey, give Pee-wee your ID.
What good is he going to do? It's got my picture on it.
That's all right. You guys could be twins. You got any other cards, mate? Here, use this one.
That's my Bible school card.
Well, who believe a guy with a Bible school card would lie about his age? Now, just act cool. You know, think you can handle that? Yeah, sure. But just act like you come here all the time, you know? Don't overdo it. I won't overdo it. All right, let's go. Jock breath.
Smiling. Why are these men laughing? Why are these girls screaming? Is it because they've all seen Porky's, the smash hit comedy that took America by storm?
Yeah.
Is it because Porky's has the second most famous shower scene in film history?
Yeah.
Is it because Porky's is full of sex, high-speed chases,
Okay, pull over.
romance,
Paul.
danger, Porky's?
Here comes your night to remember.
You've got to see it to believe it. Thursday on HBO.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, which story do you want to hear?
I don't
know. Well, I'll tell about the first time I met Tony.
Just so you're aware, hold it. Just so before anybody. Now I'm gonna come. I always come out like some kind of a dick or a barbarian in these stories. So I'm just letting everybody know now what to expect, so they can temper what he's going to tell you, so that they don't look that bad.
What happened is I came. Wyatt Knight and I flew out from Los Angeles to Miami, Florida, and we got pretty tanked on the plane. And then a production assistant picked us up in a van and took us to the Howard Johnson's on, I think it was Biscayne Boulevard in Miami. I'd never been there before. And we get out of the van, and there's this big 6'5" guy eating this container of yogurt. And she goes, "Oh, that's the guy that's going to be playing Meat." And I went, "Holy crap, this guy's big." And so she introduces us, says, "Cyril and Wyatt, this is Tony Gagnos. He's playing Meat in Porky's." And Wyatt looked at Tony and said, "Oh, so you eat that yogurt sissy shit?" And Tony just in mid mouthful stopped and looked at him, and I went, "Oh shit, this guy is we're gonna get our asses kicked." And he sets the yogurt down on the ground, and I'm going, now I know we're gonna get our asses kicked. And he turned around and he walked away, and he started walking towards a bunch of cars in the parking lot. He got under a car and he bench pressed the car off the ground completely, and then turned his head and then dropped it. I mean, the axle and the tires bounced. They went boom, boom. And he turned his head like that. He pulled his head out from underneath it, stood up, came back, picked up the yogurt, and looked right into Wyatt's eyes and went right back to eating the yogurt. All without saying a word.
For those of you who do not know, Cherry Forever married the sheriff of Wallacestown. I am not kidding. She married him. And here's a very rare interview of the two of them together. Yep, Cherry Forever and the sheriff of Wallacestown.
Well, one of my next guests helped achieve the impossible. She mellowed a 250-pound Detroit Lion, a two-legged one of pro football's meanest tackles, and made him a Hollywood actor and a producer, and he's my other guest. And oh yes, in the process they got married, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Susan Clark. Yes. And Alex Karras. There he is, Alex Karras, the man. You have mellowed, Alex, since the first time I met you.
I don't know why everyone says that about me.
No, you have.
You think so?
Yeah, the first time I interviewed you, I was...
Do you eat chairs or something?
Oh, no, I was scared to death of him. I had seen him on the football field, I think. Gee, I got to say the right thing to him. He's liable to break me in half like a match or something. How did you transform him into what he is?
I just tired him out.
You did? Oh, you want to tell us about that?
Well, he had 5 children, and then we had another one, you know, a 2-year-old will do it. Newborn baby, a 2-year-old.
Little caboose you got, huh?
Then Alex said, well, this is ridiculous. Why should we sit around waiting for some agent to call and give us a job? He said, you're smart, you know about scripts and movies, and we have the same ideas. And he said, I know about the business, because I've been in the athletic business, and I've been in the car business, and the wrestling business. And he said, we're going to start our own company. And we did.
Good for
and we
you.
both had, much like your guest, Mr. Ted Turner, We both were fed up with the ugliness and the violence that we saw in not only the movies we watched, but the parts we were being given. So we decided to do movies about people, all kinds of people, all different backgrounds, and that's, I think, the best thing about television, people, the family situation, interaction, feelings, emotion, ideas.
Sure.
And
it's not that difficult.
It isn't.
I mean,
some of the most
they
memorable.
go on and on and on in this town about how difficult it is to do good things for television, and the basic bottom line is that most people are damn lazy about it. And they don't dig in and search and look for things that might help out.
Nobody really wants to work anymore. anyway.
No, and they're greedy. They don't want to put the money on the
most
screen.
they can possibly get for the least amount of effort. Yeah. That's why that man that was sitting here is...
I think he's going to be a big, big force in this industry, and
Indeed.
I salute him. I think it's terrific.
Boy, you guys have done some wonderful things of late. I saw the thing you did with the little... recently with the little black kid, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was our first production, and we liked that a lot, yeah.
That was really lovely.
Yeah.
And you, I'll never forget you as Babe Dietrich.
Do you know what the last time we met in Philadelphia?
Yes, of course.
And you know what your producer wanted me to do? Jump hurdles outside the studio. And I
You don't even have
schlepped
to
all
tell
the
me his
way.
name. I know his name. It was
I
crazy.
came, the only time I went, I said, oh, I'll go to Philadelphia. I don't know about Philadelphia except I'm going to see Fields, and it's got a big bell, but I'll go to Philadelphia because I like Mike Douglas. He's got a good show. So I got on my train, and I schlepped from New York. And
The train? You took the train?
From New York. From New York. You see, and I had my little film clip, and your very classy company had a big car. I never saw Philadelphia from the station to the car. And he said, listen, we have had this great idea. See these hurdles? I said, yes. He said, well, it's not supposed to rain when we're doing the show. And Mike and I thought it would be a great idea.
Mike and I. So I got a bad name.
He said, we thought we'd just set up these hurdles.
I didn't know a
Did you
thing
bring your
about it.
running shoes? I said, now, wait a minute. I'm here as a girl. See, I have pretty clothes on and my pearls. And I just want to talk to Mike Douglas about Babe and all this. I don't want to do hurdles. He looked really hurt.
He could not take no for an answer, this fellow. You both have a power in your latest project, Made in America.
Yeah.
Was it hard to produce and act?
Yes, it
And
is.
no. Yes and no.
Yeah. What's the no part of it? What's the negative?
Well, as the actor, you know, you always want to do what you think it might be the better scene, and so you'd like to take another shot at a scene. And as a producer, you put the other hat on and you say, it's enough already, you know? We can't afford it. But and we had a big problem with the first thing we did with the scene. We didn't know whether we were going to add it or not, and it cost $17,000 to add it. So we had to conference, and we finally decided to do it. And it's difficult.
Bit like
sometimes.
Vegas.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. It was worth it.
You know, it's interesting that you would say that. I sat at, and I'm not dropping names, but I happened to be at Sidney Sheldon's house one night, and Sidney Portier was sitting next to me. And he had just done an enormously successful picture with Richie Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
And I said, Sidney, what is it about movies that you can be in there with people that you believe in who are great, and you're all the best people, and it's all going along smoothly, and yet you really don't know until it's up on a screen, it's edited, and the public sees it, whether it's a hit or not. I said, it really is a crapshoot. And he said, absolutely.
Yes, it is.
You do not know. I said, were you aware that picture was going to exceed $100 million? He said, I had no idea in the world.
I think you can get it's tough with a comedy.
Oh, yes.
It's the toughest, and that's what Made in America is. It's a comedy.
And we like it, and we think it's terrific, and we've had it, you know, screened lots of times, and lots of people have seen it, including the network people, and everyone loves it.
You're the maid, right?
Yes, but it doesn't mean a thing unless the ratings are high, unless you get into the ratings. So it's kind of a crapshoot.
It's also going back to a period that is relevant today because of the economic situation. It's almost 11% unemployed, and everybody's scared. It's a comedy that Frank Capra might have made, or Preston Sturges, about two different people, two different cultures. I am a fourth generation. The movie was made in Atlanta. Legal family, liberal legal lawyers, a lot of judges. And they're crazy, those people, you know. We have a black maid who was mugged by a white man who made racial remarks, and the family is so upset, and she had a nervous breakdown, that we sent her to Freudian analysis 5 days a week. Well, you know that Freudian analysis, you have to write down your dreams, and because the black maid didn't dream at night, she had to nap in the afternoon so she could write down her dreams for the doctor. So after she wrote down the dreams and went to the doctor, there was nobody to look after the 2 kids and my grandmother and my aunt and my father. And I'm working full-time, so we had to hire a maid. So guess who applied for the job? And even though I'm a big feminist, you know, liberal lawyer fighting and changing precedents in law, I don't want a man in my drawers and my closets. I mean, I want a personal lady's maid. He gets mad and he takes me to court.
I'm from the Midwest, and I'm a farmer, and I've raised 7 sisters, and I've taken care of a mother all my life, so I feel qualified.
I love that. That's a wonderful.
And the only reason that she says that she won't take me on is because I'm a man, and I'm basically a very honest person, and I say, that's not good enough, lady. You know, and so I take her to court on it.
Pee-wee, Tommy, Beulah, meet...
What kind of man would do a thing like that?
Wendy...
It's my birthday today.
And the rest of the gang...
What are you up to? Revenge. What are you up to?
...are bouncing back in the never-ending fight to party all night. Porky's 2, the next day. Rated R. Now playing at a selected theater near you.
But first, Roger begins with a film we've all been looking forward to. Porky's 2, the next day.
I was looking forward to seeing it 10 years from now. Porky's 2 is a continuation of last summer's enormous box office hit named Porky's, and it features the same crowd of immature teenagers in a new series of practical jokes involving sex, crummy teachers, and square adults. Now, here's a scene that I think pretty well captures the spirit of this terrible movie.
You guys are just jealous because I ruined Wendy for everybody else. Oh, no. Well, now that she's had me, what's wrong? Yeah, well, that's not what she told me. Well, what did she tell you? Ask her, Pee-wee. Here she comes. Yeah, I can hear her panting from here. Look, man, when they've been had by Pee-wee Morris, they stay had. I mean, they can't keep their hands off me. And you guys better watch out, because when she sees me, you're liable to get caught in the stampede. Watch this. Hi, boys. She's in a frenzy. Oh, she's rabid. She didn't see me. She didn't know I was here. That's what she said about you last night on the bus. Oh, man, the girl's my slave.
That kind of an attitude toward women absolutely makes me cringe. It makes my skin crawl. If the whole movie were like that, it'd be bad. But unfortunately, this whole movie is worse than that scene. Maybe the filmmakers were self-conscious about the attacks that critics made on their bubble-brained subject matter in the last movie, because anyway, this time there's a ridiculous and distasteful plot that makes fun of revival preachers, racists, and the Ku Klux Klan. This movie hasn't earned the right to wrap itself around those issues and to take those noble attitudes when it has such a smarmy attitude of its own. The movie ends in a big scene where hundreds of Indians watch while a bunch of Klanners have their heads shaved and then are forced to walk nude into a revival meeting. That scene is pretty sick, but meanwhile, a local girl is embarrassing a crooked politician by pretending to vomit into a fountain at a restaurant, while really what she's doing is squeezing split-piece soup into the fountain out of her falsies. Now, I'm only providing these details in the first place so you know what I mean when I say that this movie is completely beneath contempt. There is nothing that this movie won't stoop to get a joke.
I think just reading the synopsis is enough to tell you. I mean, when you talk about scenes like that, it's pretty bad. And I really don't like the aspect that you mentioned, first of all, which is the business with the Klan. They show the Klan. How do they show the Klan? They beat up an Indian boy. How do they beat him up? Just a little black eye.
Comic buffoons.
They don't show what the Klan does, which is kill people, hang people. This is comedy Klan. This is from Archie Bunker's house. This is really, that's sick to do with something like that.
And then the whole deal with what they do with the Klan when they shave their heads using some perversion of a Jewish ritual.
Right.
It's, you know what's sick about it? It's anti-Semitism masquerading as anti-racism.
I know what you're saying.
It's sick underneath the sickness. This movie is corrupt from one end to the other.
We didn't like this picture.
Another sequel heading toward the screen this summer, Porky's 2 the Next Day. Considering the original turned a $4.5 million investment into a glittering $110 million return, it's no surprise 20th Century Fox will be giving audiences Part 2, following the Angel Beach High gang who lost their innocence last year and who are after something else this time around.
Revenge. What are you up to?
Sounds good to me. Porky's 2 wails your way, June 24th.
If you thought the night before was funny, wait till you see Porky's 2 the next day.
Okay, I'm ready.
Wonder what he's up to.
Remember the last time we're on this road?
I really want to hear this story.
What kind of man would do a thing like that?
Things are still jumping at Angel Beach High, and no one is safe.
I can see we will now have to deal with the purveyors of filth.
Hey, deal with Porky's 2, the next day.
Well, actually, we had something slightly different in mind.
Tuesday on HBO.
Be here Friday, August 10th for the Porky's double feature. First, the boys are after just one thing.
What we need here is some professional help.
And they're gonna get it at Porky's. And the very next day, they're up to...
Revenge. What are you up to?
Look out for Porky's 2 at 10/9 Central. The Porky's double feature, Friday, August 10th, starting at 8/7 Central on Showtime.
For good. I'm a villain. I don't like the kids. I don't like you kids either. I'll be stepping right out of the screen, reaching out and grabbing you by the neck.
In the meanwhile, in another part of town, Porky's Revenge. This time around directed by James Comack, who gave us Chico and the Man and Welcome Back, Kotter. This is a comedy that won a lot of fans in its original version and aims not to disappoint those fans now. See all about Angle Beach High.
And I guess part of it was because I didn't assume the acceptance. I knew I'd have to work for it. Really, they have a love affair going that's great. And very humbly, I said they've included me into it.
Mr. Carter! Who is...
I don't think they're stock characters that we pulled out of a library. They're real people. And it's the work that went into it.
I think everyone knows somebody that was like that. So they can associate, gee, I know a guy that used to do stuff like that, or I know a guy that looked like that.
The characters' reactions have to be honest to me. And unless something comes from a natural response, it won't be funny.
When we do something, we know if we're being truthful or not, as the character. And it's much easier to call ourselves on it. So we're a little more critical at this point. It's funny, we're doing the basketball sequences, which was a fantasy of mine. I'm not a jock. This is why you do films. They brought down one of the best college coaches in the country. He trained us every Saturday for a month and a half. We were dying. They had us playing against a couple of All-Americans, you know. We fell by the wayside, vomiting, you know. We just go, oh, please, we're never going to do this.
Scoring one is much quicker, much more fun, much more energy. Okay? All right, stand by again.
Porky finally got his revenge. Mr. Meat Tipperella will be at no graduation. There might be some spicy scenes, but believe me, there's nothing offensive. There's no nudity on my part. I don't want nobody seeing what I got when I can't see what I got.
What'll it be tonight,
I could be the southern bartender, and you can be the impotent alcoholic monk that just escaped from the monastery. Goody, that's my favorite.
There are some broad comedy scenes in the picture because A, the actors can do them, B, the audience wants them, accepts them. That's what, when they go put their money down to see Porky's, that's what they want. It is correct for me to give them that and along the way take them on a little further trip.
Now you're starting with people that people know something about, and it allows us to pay a little bit more time in terms of their personal relationships, how they interact with one another. A little bit of romantic interest now is popping up in our story.
Well, they didn't know I'd lost weight when they wrote the script. I think they wanted to give Miss Ballbreaker, soften her a bit. She changes because she meets her old high school sweetheart, Snooky, and I think it gives her a new lease on life and brings out the more free and sensual aspects of Miss Ballbreaker.
In this, I have a chance to be lovable. I have a daughter in this, believe it or not. Girl with a beautiful body. And the boys get tangled with her.
I don't think there's innocentism. I think they're like closet eaters. It's like they did things, but
they didn't let anyone know because it was prohibited. I bet you they weren't so innocent.
Here is your scalpel. Now cut.
The whole sexual problem's ever more apparent than when you're an adolescent male. And I mean, you have all of this, drive and energy and absolutely nothing to do with it.
Who could possibly want revenge on those sweet, innocent, totally harmless kids from Angel Beach High School? Porky is back in the funniest, sexiest Porkies of them all. 20th Century Fox presents the all-new Porky's Revenge.
I sat through every disgusting frame of this film. Twice.
Rated R. Now playing at a selected theater near you.
Next, more comic relief as Pee-wee and his pals create comedy chaos. Yes, those classless clowns are at it again, on the run from Porky's Revenge. Next.
Happy New Year! There's a party going on. It's USA's New Year's Eve Marathon Porky's Party. All the fun. All the fireworks. And all the zany antics from those wacky kids at Angel Beach High. What better way to usher in the new year? More fun than one. Better than two. It's a triple helping of Porky's on USA's New Year's Eve Marathon Porky's Party. Next.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for Porky's. Porky's, Saturday night at 11 on Fox Television Channel 5, New York.
On the FX Noon Movie,
Who got my cherry?
the boys are back. And they're bad to the bone. Porky's 2 tomorrow at noon on FX.
The devils of Angel Beach are out to party. They want to do it all.
I'm sure you boys can manage that.
See it all.
Yeah, let's see them both.
Shake it all.
These bras are hot.
It's a film you won't want to miss.
I sat through every disgusting frame of this film. Twice.
You'll get all you can handle in the original Porky's.
Hey, but first it's Kim Cattrall, Alex Karras, and a few other people who consider this a career highlight in Porky's on this New Year's Eve edition of USA Up All Night.
Like, oh, Lashley said, Beulah, Beulah, Beulah! I have hours and hours of this stuff in my collection. I figured this was enough for one volume. I might do more in the future. It depends on how well this video does. It depends on how many of you actually watch this. Like I said, I got more of this and tons of other movies and stuff. So check out my channel and stay tuned because you never know what I have in my collection to be next. See you later.